Most people believe blindness is the death of vision, and sometimes that vision can even include creative vision. But what if we looked at it in different ways and we used blindness as the dawn of new reinvention? Because what we have right now, especially in creative spaces, is a world where everyone hops onto the latest trend, everyone tries to recreate a gadget or even an invention that has already proven itself to be great. No one is going back to ground zero to build something from scratch. We need the blank canvases, and those blank canvases only come when we're totally blind and we allow ourselves to use one brushstroke at a time and paint a new canvas in which we use our aboriginality as a human species in order for us to create what is meant to be and what the world has not seen before. It might be something that the world has slightly seen, but expressing it in its truest version, where it has been built up from zero to becoming something that can be truly the one. We're visually overstimulated, but creatively bankrupt. This comes from what we feed on today, which are fabricated feeds. We feed off a perceived reality, a fabricated reality in which other people create and everyone else just hops onto the trend and tries to recreate what these people have already created for themselves. And what this might lead us to do is actually live lives where we are not living like ourselves, but we're living like other people. We need to bring ourselves down back to ground zero, because in ground zero is where I would like to introduce this thing called a silent feed. What a silent feed is, it's what makes you see 10 times more clearly. It's not that high quality reel or that high quality TikTok that you saw but forgot about in the next 5 minutes, but it is something that has been built within you. Your whole life has been steps building up brick by brick to this point where you can now create simply from that ground of blindness, simply from that blank canvas. Because it is on this blank canvas where the one pixel that you paint is better than 1,000 pixels from another person that you try to recreate. Imagine sitting at a big table trying to brainstorm, but your vision is limited by the painting on the walls and also the big data on the screen. Now imagine a dark room with nothing at all, no input, just you and your one pixel of imagination. That one pixel, which can be the inspiration for new worlds, new realities, something you build from the ground up. This is what comes from blindness. It is not us feeding off a lot of things. It is just us sitting by ourselves, going back to zero, and trying to create that world from within us, that one pixel inspiring worlds that have never been seen before. The bridge between these two is intentional blindness. It's not a blindness where we let everything go, but it's a blindness which we use in order for us to create from originality. Because when we create from originality, we allow ourselves to express the best versions of ourselves. We allow ourselves to express the best versions of whatever it is that comes from us. We allow ourselves to be blank canvases, to be that new city from that new ground where no one has ever been there before. No one even imagined that there might be a city there before. But by layering that one brick, using that one cornerstone, we start building something so majestic that when the world sees it 1,000 years from now, 1,000,000 years from now, they would never know what was there before. That blank canvas becomes something of the past, but that blank canvas is where it all started. We will never know unless we make ourselves blank canvases. Because for us to be able to start, we need to make those sacrifices. And those sacrifices sometimes are not something that we're willing to take. That one bold step is something that we're not willing to take, because creating from original, creating from scratch, no one's really willing to do that. We're all looking for fast results anyways. So why would anyone open it? Just like anything else, intentional blindness comes with principles. Because without principles, you cannot really have a purpose. So the first thing is for us to just try and imagine that one pixel, not whole universes at once. Rome was not built in a day anyway. So try to imagine that one pixel, that one sound, that one fabric, that one knitting, that one material. Because from that one is where we already start, is where progress starts being made. There is no need for us to try to imagine everything all at once, because once we do that, we might be distracted by what might be without leaning into what is right now. Because what is right now is what makes the future possible. We think a lot about tomorrow, we think a lot about yesterday, because these are the things that influence today. But sometimes we even forget we're in the present anyway. The present is the one pixel, the present is the one brick that builds tomorrow's houses. The second principle would be, this is not a sit down meeting where I'm trying to like convince you to go sit down with your team and try to figure something out of the blue. It is a deep dive into the unknown, a deep dive into our souls, to figure out what it is that we are, to figure out where everything is planned for us and where we can truly start. Because we've already started so many things, the lifestyles that we live, the systems that are built for us. They're already things that we're someone else's ground zero. So our ground zeros may look different from what already is there. But we have an advantage. And where this advantage lies is we already have all this knowledge anyway. So it could be knowledge that we use even when we're starting from ground zero to build ourselves up, because this is where the punch is. We are not a disadvantaged species. I'm not asking us to go back to the 1900s or way before that when humans did not have all the technology they have. I've used the technology I have right now to even write this down and make this video, but I've used my ground zero to think of this idea of ground zero in the first place. I've used my blindness to think of this idea of blindness in the first place. The second time I allow myself to be blind, who knows what I can come up with? Who knows what my creative direction might look like? Who knows what your creative direction might look like? Even if it's not something that you're sharing with the world, even if it's something that you're just sharing with your family, your friends, or your close ones, that impact it has on one person might be what you need after all, to have those moments of coming back to yourself and actually figuring out who you are and expressing yourself in the best ways possible. Because it is from these blindnesses where sometimes we bring up subjects that are not even known to each other, but they have a small link that only you can identify. That is what I am urging us forward to do, because a lot of us have been told that, oh, this and this do not go together. But there might be an ecosystem where those two elements that are not meant to live together at all live in true harmony. And that harmony only comes when no one looks at the chaos that already exists. Sometimes we're not ignoring the chaos that exists, but we're just not looking at it for the meantime. We're starting from a place where we act like that chaos does not exist at all, because sometimes in chaos comes the most harmony. There wouldn't be harmony anyway if we didn't know what chaos was. We've gone from fearing blindness to realizing it might be the only way to truly see. We've gone from the slight limitations that it is to imagination portals. The next time you feel blind or lost, don't panic. Go back to your creative space. Just take a deep breath. Allow yourself to be free. Use that blindness as a way to create a world which your competitors have never dreamt of, because your unique experiences are what make your blank canvas different. Even though everyone thinks it's the one idea of one blank canvas, our blank canvases are different from the billions of experiences that we have at different places. Even if it's in the same places, the way we feel about saying the same things are different. It's the way in which we use them, the way in which we use the first stroke of paint that makes the whole difference. My blank canvas was an empty WordPress site 3 years ago, and up to this day, I've managed to flood it with every brushstroke that I've imagined, including a blog post about being blind itself. With this, I've been able to express myself to the world. I've left the link in the description if you'd like to see it. This is just one example of how we can paint our different blank canvases. My blank canvas today is a new edition, which is this video, and I'm so excited to share it with you. I'm excited to share more things with many people as well, and join in communities where people use their canvases for something meaningful in the world.